I look incredibly pale. That sounded like I was about to say I look incredible. No. Hello. Today I'm going to be filming a makeup challenge. I mentioned this in my last video and loads of you guys said you really wanted me to do it. So I'm gonna do it. I'm basically gonna be doing a full face of makeup using only mini brushes that I've got in my advent calendars. Okay, these are my brushes that I'm gonna be using to do my makeup today. These are the only things that I'm allowed to use. So it is gonna be a little bit of a challenge. I did have a look and see if anyone has filmed this video before. No one's done it with like advent calendar brushes, but I did see that Steph Toms has filmed. It's basically the exact same thing. I think she called it full face using those brushes, and it was basically her doing a full face of makeup using like mini cheap applicators. So yeah, but yeah, I think I should just get on with it. The first thing I'm gonna do is my foundation, and I think this one is a foundation brush. It's one of those like flat foundation brushes. I don't think I've ever applied foundation with a brush like this, but I feel like people used to use these back in the day. Maybe some people still do. So I'm just gonna squirt a little bit of foundation. Oh, I nearly missed. I mean, I'm gonna need way more than that, but let's just test it out on my forehead and see how this goes. Oh, I mean, it's very soft. It kind of feels like I'm painting. It's quite satisfying actually, but I do think it's gonna be very streaky and really hard to blend. It's gonna take ages, isn't it? Like, honestly, I'm gonna be here for a long time. Right, I'm just gonna keep going with this. It's not too bad. I bet from a distance it's not looking too bad, but close up, wow, it is very streaky. I think the key to using a brush like this is to put less on, because if you put too much on, it's just gonna go so streaky and it's gonna be so hard to blend it all out. I'm just realizing that now. So I honestly don't know how I'm gonna make this look good, but I'm basically just gonna keep going all over my face until every little bit is as blended as possible. I also need to bring it down my neck because I've gone for a foundation that is way too dark for me. I don't know why I did that. Okay, I'm just gonna keep going. I realized that if you pat instead of swipe, it is actually a little bit better. And I've kind of managed to blend most of it, but around my nose it is really difficult, and on my nose and also around my eyes for some reason I'm really struggling to blend that. But I think this might be as good as it's gonna get. That was time consuming. I would not recommend using one of these. It is so much quicker with a sponge. What are these, honestly? Does anyone actually use one of these? I'd be interested if any of you guys still use a brush like this for foundation. I'm just gonna put a little bit of concealer under my eyes. I'm not going to do it around my nose because this is so difficult to get around my nose. Yeah, I'm going to take the same brush for this. Oh, goodbye. Because I feel like this will probably work quite well for concealer as well. Okay, this is actually working quite well for concealer. If I just pat it out, maybe that's what this is actually for. It's not a foundation brush. It's like a little concealer brush for under your eyes. Okay, I think we're done with her. She has served us pretty nicely. I'm now going to move on to my powder. I mean, it's got to be this one, hasn't it? This isn't quite as mini as the others. I was kind of like, do I include you? But I guess for a powder brush, it is quite small. It's still going to take a little bit longer than normal to get around my face with this. So I'm just going to take a bit of my powder on this brush and I am just going to inhale it. And I'm just going to kind of pat this. Seems to be working quite nicely. Oh my goodness, it's definitely helping because my skin was looking very, like, look at this side. I don't know if you guys can see, but it's looking very like thick. Do you know what I mean? It definitely needed a powder. So this is definitely helping. Patting this in has actually helped to kind of get rid of the streakiness a bit. So we are loving this brush. It is actually a nice one. It's really soft. It kind of works just as well as a standard powder brush. It's just way smaller, so it is taking a lot longer. So I'm pretty sure bronzer is the only thing that I don't have a brush for. So I think I'm just gonna have to use this again. It will probably work quite well for bronzer. So I'm just gonna take this, and I promise it will start getting difficult again because this is my blush brush. Need I say any more? That is definitely going to be a little bit challenging. But yeah, I'm just going to take this for my bronzer. It's just like quite a nice soft brush, this one. Who's it by? Oh, this is from the Makeup Obsession calendar. So far, all of the brushes that I've used are from Makeup Obsession, but the rest are from like the cheaper calendars. We've got the Sunkissed one. What was the one that I did a couple of weeks ago? QKI one. What was that one called? I can't even remember. Seems to be working quite nicely as well for bronzer. It's blending it quite well. Okay, how is that looking? I feel like my base is looking pretty good. It's definitely not perfect. Like if you looked up close, it's nowhere near as good as my normal base makeup. It's just a little bit patchy in places, a little bit streaky, a little bit bleh. But I feel like so far, it's not looking too bad. It's probably all gonna change now because I'm gonna move on to these little brushes and I'm gonna use these for my blush and my highlighter. Oh yeah, because I don't have a highlighter brush either. So I'm gonna use blush and highlighter. Wish me luck. Yeah, these brushes do not feel great. They're really not very soft. I feel like, I mean, I can't imagine that they're gonna apply it very nicely, but I won't judge it until I've tried it. They're also exactly the same, but these were from 2 different calendars. So yeah, lots of you were saying that those 2 calendars were really similar. I mean, this is proof. They had 2 brushes that are basically identical. Which one should I take for blush? I'm determined to work out if one of them is softer. They really are exactly the same. I'm gonna take this one for my blush and hopefully we can make it work. So I'm pretty sure these are meant to be little blush brushes, I think. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that. And I guess I'm just gonna kind of pat it on like this. I mean, it's taking off my foundation because it's so sharp. Okay, no prodding, that does not work. I guess the only other option is to kind of get it on this bit and just pat it on. I told you this is where it was gonna go wrong. Okay, I'm just gonna kind of pat it on like this. Oh no. I mean, at least it's not taking off my foundation anymore because it's a little bit softer, but that is adding a lot of product and I've got to somehow try and blend that out. Same again on the other side. I'm just gonna kind of tap it on. Like, these are not good. It's just not soft enough. They're really, really sharp. Like, well, not really, really sharp. Come off it. Ooh, they're not that sharp, but they're sharp for a brush. Just gonna kind of pat a little bit on the end of my nose, just like this. Oh, wow. Okay. I'm looking healthy, which is better than I was looking at the start, because at the start I was looking rough, and at least now I've got a nice pink glow. Speaking of glow, sounds like I'm about to go into a sponsorship, doesn't it? I'm really not. Speaking of glow, I'm now going to move on to highlighter, and I'm going to take the other little brush like this, because that is honestly all I've got for highlighter. Or would it be better to use one of these? No, I feel like this is going to be better, so I'm just going to take one of these. So yeah, I'm just going to take a little bit of highlighter on this brush, and I'm very gently just gonna pat it on here. I'm gonna try and be so careful so it doesn't take off what's underneath. This one is softer. This one is definitely a little bit softer. I don't know how, because they're the same brush, but this doesn't feel as sharp as the other one. Woo! Okay, let's try getting a bit on the flat side instead, and I'm just gonna kind of do circular motions like this. I feel like, oh, that's working really nicely. Okay, same again on the other side. I'm just gonna kind of circular motion it. Seems to be the best way of doing it. And then lastly, just a little bit on the tip of my nose. This is way too big to be doing this, but there we go. I think that is my highlighter done, and that really didn't go too bad considering that is definitely not a highlighter brush. So I'm now going to move on to eyebrows, and I've had to find an eyebrow powder because I think that's the only way I can do this, because this is the brush that I'm going to have to use for my eyebrows. It's just like a standard little angled brush. I don't think this is going to be too difficult. The main thing that I'm going to struggle with is using a brow powder because I'm not the best with that. Oh, it's a little bit dark, isn't it? Wow. What have I done? I'm going to take this little brush here. I think this is like a lip brush, so I will use it again at the end, but I'm going to take this and use it as like a concealer cleanup brush because I need that right now, desperately. I'm just going to kind of like dunk it in there a bit, get a little bit of concealer, and yeah, I'm going to try and make these just a little bit smaller. I can't. I mean, this wasn't too bad. Again, it's one of the Makeup Obsession brushes. They seem to be pretty decent, but trying to neaten it up with this little thing, it's just so floppy. Like, you put a slight bit of pressure and it's like flop, 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 flop. These are my eyebrows. They are not my best. Oh no, I've got to try and do an entire eyeshadow look just with sponges with hairs on them because I don't have any other kind of eyeshadow brush in these like mini calendar brushes. I didn't get any. I was supposed to get one in the Makeup Obsession calendar, but who remembers I ended up getting 2 of these, like they made a mistake in mine. So I should have a little eyeshadow brush, but I literally don't. But yeah, I'm just gonna use these little sponges and see what I can do. So I'm gonna take my little palette. This is the one that I made in a video at some point this year, the one where I did like only using custom beauty products. I'm gonna take this because I haven't used it since, and I'm gonna take a bit of this shade here, which is Constellation. I'm gonna take it on my little sponge and use that as like a transition color. How is this gonna work? Like, how am I gonna blend with this? My blending is atrocious at the best of times, but I've got to try and blend with a sponge. Wow. I don't think I've ever made that sound before. Right, I'm just gonna keep going. It's fine. This isn't gonna look too bad, but it's gonna look quite bad. That's my prediction. I've just kept going with it, and that doesn't look too bad. Imagine if this ends up being the nicest eyeshadow look I've ever done. Right, I'm just blending it. Well, it's not really blending, I'm just kind of like patting it. I'm now just going to take a little bit of the darker brown, which is called Galaxy, and I guess I'm just going to do the same because right now this isn't really showing up too much, so I definitely need like a slightly darker shade just to build it up a bit. Oh no, my little cuff fell down. Why did nobody tell me? There we go. Right, this is my eyeshadow so far. I think we're just gonna have to accept that I'm not gonna get a good blend when I'm using a sponge. This looks like an absolute mess, but I think that is honestly as good as I'm gonna get it. I've tried going over it again and again, and I just can't, but I think the next bit won't be as difficult because I often get comments when I get these brushes. Are they even brushes? They're sponges, aren't they? I often get comments when I get these sponges from you guys saying these are really good for shimmers on your lid. Let's use a different one. Let's use this little one here, and I'm gonna take, we've got a bit of Celestial, a bit of Lunar, a bit of Zodiac, or a bit of Moon. Which one should we go for? I think I'm gonna go for Zodiac, the kind of pinky one, and I'm just gonna take a load of this on this little sponge. Oh yeah. That really does collect up the product. It's like proper stuck onto it. I think I'm also going to spray it with a little bit of setting spray. I always forget to do this, but it definitely helps with shimmer. There we go. This is possibly the tiniest little brush I've ever used. I keep calling it a brush, it's a sponge. This is possibly the tiniest little sponge I've ever used in my life. Like, look at it in comparison to my finger. I have quite small fingers in general, but yeah, this is a very small little sponge, and I feel like I'm gonna drop it any minute. I'm just gonna kind of wipe it. Oh, you're right. You guys that have been saying this works, it works so well at packing it on. Oh my goodness. I am now really wishing that the crease shades didn't look like such a mess, because this could be such a pretty eyeshadow look. I mean, I think that's pretty impressive. I also like how you can proper get in the corner because it's got the slight sort of tapered tip to it. I'll be hanging on to you, your little tiny thing, and I can use this in future. I'm just going back in with the matte shades now just to try and blend it into this a bit, but I don't think it's gonna happen. I'm gonna take this one again, and I'm just gonna go back in with the dark brown and just put that on my lower lash line. Oh, hello. It comes out super pigmented, that's what I've noticed. Oh no, I'm about to ruin everything. I've ruined everything. I mean, I've got to go and make the same mistake on the other side so they match. I'm just gonna try and clean that up with a bit of concealer. Just cleaning it up. It worked. Okay, that definitely helped a little bit. I'm now going to take the final little spongy thing, and I'm going to take a bit of Celestial, and I'm just going to use that for my sort of inner corner highlighter. So I'm just going to dab a little bit on there and a little bit on there. Ooh. I mean, mascara technically has its own applicator, but if I want to keep going with the challenge, I guess I could dunk this into it and try and like apply it like that. Let's go all out and just stick things in things and see what happens. I mean, is this even gonna fit? It doesn't fit. I could try and get it off of here. Give me a second. I'm gonna find, my stomach is rumbling so much, I'm so hungry. I'm gonna find a mascara that's a little bit wetter. This one's kind of dried out, so it's hard to get enough on the brush. Okay, I feel like this is gonna work so much better. This is a much, oh, did you hear that? She is a wet one. Bigger hole as well. This is sounding awful. I'm so sorry. This one has a much bigger hole, so I might be able to fit. No, it still didn't fit. I thought it might, but it doesn't. But it doesn't matter because this is so much like, I don't want to keep using the word wetter. It's got a lot more product on it, put it that way, so I can just scrape it off. So I'm just gonna kind of like blink on it. It's working. I'm not gonna get a good amount of length with it because I feel like you need the brush to proper like wiggle them up. But the best I can do is just add a little bit of black to darken them and kind of thicken them a little bit. Just gonna do a little bit on my bottom lashes. I just did a big swipe. Okay, I'm gonna stop there before I make an absolute mess, but I feel like it actually did work quite well. I mean, it doesn't look as good as if I do my mascara normally, but it really didn't go too bad. It's definitely added a little bit of something to my eyelashes. And then the final thing I need to do is my lips. So I'm gonna take our little floppy friend. To be fair, this has come in handy quite a few times, but I think its main purpose is to be like a lip applicator, I think. So yeah, instead of using the normal applicator on this lip product, I am just going to do a little bit of dunking and then swipe it on. I don't know why I've gone for such a bright colour because it's going to make it even harder, but there we go. I'm going to challenge myself. Plus it is now December, so I can whack out my festive red lip products, even though I really don't like red lips on me. Oh my goodness, and it's really pigmented. Okay, I've definitely chosen probably like the hardest one to do. I'm finding this really difficult. I didn't think this would be too hard, but I'm finding it so tricky to make it neat. And I blame the floppiness. It's because there's no like control with it because it's just like flop, flop, flop. I'm just gonna have to go for extremely overlined lips now to neaten this. Okay, not that overlined. I need to stop. I do have one more clean brush, but it's an angled brush. Can I use this to neaten up this? I mean, I'm gonna have to try, I can't leave it like this. So I'm gonna take an angled brush and I'm gonna dunk it in my concealer and we're gonna try and neaten this up. Okay, that worked. I'm now gonna go back in with this one and just kind of neaten up the bits that have got concealer on them. Right, I'm gonna stop now. I honestly can't get it any better than that. I didn't think that bit would be so difficult, but it really was. That brush is just awful. I feel like I've complained about it so much, even though it has, I've dropped it now. But yeah, this is my makeup done. This is my full face of makeup using only, what are we calling you? Cheap applicators, mini applicators, advent calendar brushes. I don't know what I'm gonna call this video, but yeah, this is what my final look looks like. I guess it's not too bad. I mean, it's definitely not my best. There are a lot of bits that look quite messy, but I feel like it could have gone worse. It's definitely not too bad. So yeah, it was just a bit of fun anyway. I hope you guys enjoyed watching me struggle. I had a lot of fun filming it. Give this video a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and if you want me to do, did my voice just go shaky? Did enjoy it? Give it a big thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and if you want me to do more makeup challenges in the future. And yeah, I will see you very soon. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.